The Simpsons, funny show, one of the most popular shows on television. In recent years, has kind of become known as like a Nostradamus type thing as well.
Yeah, he might have actually written it. Who knows?
Oh, that would be crazy if he was really behind it all. Yeah, crazy predictions The Simpsons have made, eerily accurate.
Some for this year, so
yes,
let's
those are the
check it out.
Those are the ones we're looking at today.
Yeah,
this year.
Cool. Starting off our list today, we have The Simpsons predicting that AI will take over the world, displacing workers and replacing food. In one episode of The Simpsons, Homer is working at his nuclear power plant. Well, I don't know if you can call what he does work, but he was there. Anyways, Smithers calls the plant workers into his presentation room, I guess, and presents them with an army of AI robots and says, "You will train them and they will replace you." That's pretty unsettling coming from a show that's been known to actively predict the future, but even more unsettling when the episode's claim has actually been backed by tangible data. In a report released by BusinessInsider.com in 2023, the World Economic Forum calculated that 85 million jobs will be replaced by robots by the year 2025, meaning that here in 2024, we're pretty much already halfway there. I feel like robot labor could be a good thing if it didn't mean causing a crap ton of people to lose their jobs and their only source of income.
All right, season 28, episode 2 of The Simpsons, entitled Friends and Family, has a scene where Marge and Homer are using VR. More specifically, they're eating VR food. They have VR goggles on and start eating virtual reality fudge through straws. It's, of course, pretty silly. But there is actually a company called Flavor 5 Studio dipping into this type of technology. They created this project called Aero Banquets RMX. Now, this is pretty hard for me to explain because with how crazy technology is getting these days, I really feel so out of touch. Like, I feel like a 45-year-old man in the 90s trying to decipher what Pokemon was, or Pokemon, as every parent called it. So from what I can tell, this is almost like a virtual reality art project. It's described on their site as exploring the intersection of food and mixed reality. Basically, you put on VR headsets and dine in VR. Project's goal is to reframe human perceptions and change the way we experience food. I still can't tell if you're actually eating something and you're just in a VR world, or if you're like tasting fake stuff. I don't know what the world is anymore.
When this technology comes out, if you guys want to fund a trip for James and I, we'll be happy to review it for you. Next up, we have Trump 2024. In an episode released in 2015, long before Trump's original presidential campaign, you know, way back when his catchphrase wasn't MAGA, but simply just "you're fired," The Simpsons released an episode, specifically episode 17 of season 11. And in this episode, Homer Simpson is seen flying past a sign that clearly reads Trump 2024. To take things a step further, The Simpsons also predicted the 2023 incident in which former US President Donald Trump was arrested during his presidency on the same day that the new Barbie was released. In episode 14 of season 5, Lisa vs. Malibu Stacy, a news report is shown on TV documenting the release of the new Barbie doll. In our case, however, it was the new Barbie movie. At the end of the news report, the news anchor quickly slips in the fact that the US president had been arrested, and the segment ends. Trump was arrested the day that Barbie hit theaters. I know this one happened in 2023, but it just goes to show how scarily accurate The Simpsons have been in the past, making this list all the more terrifying.
Next up, we have 2023's Treehouse of Horror segment, Wild Barts Can't Be Token. At the start of the episode, Mayor Quimby announces that the art museum is closing and that all art will now be sold as NFTs. Now, NFTs were a thing well before this episode was out, but AI art has really become more of a thing and more of a concern really this year. The idea that art museums could start closing up, being replaced by people just throwing on VR headsets and looking at quote-unquote art in a virtual reality setting is really not that far-fetched. I mean, thank God Dune Part 2 came out, because it was really looking like movie theaters were gonna be done for by the end of this year. Anyway, this whole thing is just really creepy, and with how accurate The Simpsons are about things, I could see this one happening very soon.
Next up, we've got economic collapse, which is ironically predicted in the same episode that showcases Trump's 2024 presidential campaign, season 11, episode 17. In the episode, we see the United States economy taking a nosedive right into the ground. Is it BS, or did a group of economic analysts studying the trajectory of economic fall predict either a collapse or major restructuring of the American economy? Here's a hint. It's the second one. But I don't really think this prediction is exclusive to America. We are seeing major economic downfall in many countries, which isn't really surprising considering what we all went through in 2020 and the years that followed. You know, when restaurants shut down and remote working became the norm. And with the state of the world right now, we are looking at a pretty bearish economy. I don't actually know if that word applies here, but basically we're looking at a downwards trajectory. Next on our list today, we have a major environmental disaster. In the Simpsons movie titled The Simpsons movie, Springfield's local lake becomes so polluted that the Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, or EPA, if you're Abe, decide to imprison the town under a giant glass dome. Prior to the imprisonment of Springfield, the town had put out a warning to its citizens not to dump hazardous waste into the lake and to instead take it to a hazardous waste facility to be properly disposed of. Some people listened, but not everyone. Homer. And the final straw, of course, took place when Homer Simpson plowed through the barriers surrounding the lake to dump a silo full of pig shite. Immediately the lake began to bubble and then turn green and then turn black, and then a squirrel fell in and immediately turned into a mutant. Some of the most polluted lakes in the world are loaded with hazardous radioactive waste, causing the waters to turn black or red. Not green, but close enough, and giving these waters the ability to kill you within an hour. With pollution in the world at an all-time high, it might not be so far-fetched to think that one day things will get so bad that the government becomes forced to isolate certain cities and towns from the rest of the world for their protection? Who knows? Kind of worrying, if you ask me.
How about the rise of VR leading to the downfall of the human race? Could we have a Ready Player One situation on our hands, or worse, in the near future? In the season 28 episode Friends and Family, which aired in 2016, God, season 28 came out in 2016. That is nuts. Anyway, Mr. Burns discovers the wonders of virtual reality after grabbing a pair of VR glasses from Professor Frink, who he accidentally runs over with his car. Most of the episode focuses on Mr. Burns hiring the Simpsons as his new family, minus Homer, but at the end we get a glimpse of the near future, with the entire town of Springfield using VR goggles. People are using them everywhere, walking into oncoming traffic, walking into street poles. An old lady falls down a well, or a manhole, that's the word for that. Homer and Marge are even using VR goggles in bed, getting frisky. In VR though, while laying right beside each other in real life doing absolutely nothing. It's all pretty silly, but it's also really not a stretch to imagine mass amounts of people getting addicted to VR, like spending the majority of their time in worlds they wished they lived in. I tried VR once, it was awesome. I didn't want to like take those goggles off and be back sitting in my buddy's dingy living room again. I wanted to be back in the jungle with dinosaur robots.
Speaking of robots, next we have the robot revolution. And yes, I know we've talked about this one before, but I feel like it's so close to happening that it's worth mentioning again. In a bit more detail, that is. In season 23, episode 17, Them Robot, we see robots taking over the workforce and replacing all human employees at the Springfield nuclear power plant. Before that, episode 4 of season 6, Itchy and Scratchy Land, we see robots at an Itchy and Scratchy themed amusement park go rogue and kill everyone. It's no secret that the practice of outsourcing human jobs to automated machinery is on the rise. It started with robotics taking over assembly lines, factory work, and call centers, but it has since evolved into an uprising of robots working in healthcare, transportation, security, cleaning services, you name it. And recently, we've also seen an uprising in articles and artwork produced by robotic artificial intelligence as well. Talk about depriving the masses of a human touch. But of course, there's also the matter of the whole Itchy and Scratchy Land possibility, which has actually happened before and might just continue to happen if we aren't careful. In 2021, a Tesla engineer was attacked by an assembly robot. The machine grabbed the man and pressed him into a conveyor belt, causing severe chest injuries that later proved fatal. If that's not foreshadowing, I'm not sure what is. I mean, Elon Musk himself even said AI is far more dangerous than nukes. Maybe we should listen to the man condemning AI, who is also at the forefront of AI. It's all very scary to me.
And speaking of a robot revolution, let's talk about regenerative technology in the wrong hands. Not really connected at all. But, Alright, in the classic X-Files Simpsons crossover episode, the Springfield Files, Homer thinks he's discovered an alien in the woods. Spoiler alert, turns out to be Mr. Burns. Smithers explains that Mr. Burns receives an advanced longevity treatment once a week, which allows him to cheat death. The treatment also makes him look and sound like an alien for a short period of time. Now, Mr. Burns is cartoonishly evil, and lovable in his own weird way, kinda, but he does represent a certain segment of the population, the 1%, the movers and shakers of the world who often operate based on their own greed, always putting themselves before others and making the world a worse place to live in the process. And the idea of those people receiving life-preserving booster injections on a weekly basis, keeping them in power longer and longer, that's not fun to think about. And who knows, maybe this type of treatment is already being used today.
Okay, so this next prediction doesn't necessarily come from any one particular episode, but really the series as a whole. Throughout The Simpsons, if you look hard enough, you can see a continuous theme of subliminal messages that allude to the breakdown of society, which makes sense when you take into consideration the fact that Matt Groening, the creator of the series, is a self-admitted anarchist who believes in the dismantlement of hierarchical government and advocates for organizing society on a voluntary and cooperative basis. Throughout the show, messages like "I blame the breakdown of society" and "I love the breakdown of society" can be heard and seen. If you were to take a good look at society right now, no matter who you are or what your views are, I guarantee you can spot at least a few good cracks. If you can't, you might be oblivious. I mean, every day it's looking more and more like society is on track for a global collapse. Am I hopeful that we can band together and work things out? Sure. Am I cautiously aware of the most likely outcome? Yes.
Next up, we have a sickness quickly spreading throughout the population through packages of juicers. The season 4 episode 21, Marge in Chains, is basically a Mother's Day episode, really. I mean, The Simpsons, as well as the entire town, come to realize just how big of an impact Marge really has on the town when she's suddenly out of the picture, locked up in jail. But there's also a subplot to the episode about a sickness that quickly spreads throughout Springfield. A new juicer is shipped from Osaka, Japan, but one of the packers has the flu, and his germs get distributed amongst the packages, leading to all of Springfield getting sick. The flu becomes known as the Osaka flu. Could something worse happen in real life, though, with deadly germs being accidentally spread across the globe from a manufacturer with an ill worker? Possibly. I mean, it's in The Simpsons, so it will likely come true.
And finally, let's have some fun and dive into The Simpsons' prediction of an alien president. Honestly, maybe that's what the world needs. In episode 1 of season 8, Treehouse of Horror number 7, a presidential election takes place in Springfield, in which the two candidates, Kang and Kodos, are aliens. Do I think we're actually going to see this in real life anytime soon? No. But hey, in the future anything is possible. There are some things mentioned in the episode, however, that might happen sooner rather than later. When the town finds out that the candidates are in fact aliens, the idea of a third-party candidate taking office is raised, which is a bit more realistic. On the other, more dramatic hand, the idea of a foreign leader coming in, taking over a country and enslaving its people is also raised when the alien Kang wins the election and puts the people of Springfield to work, which has happened in real life before, but I'm really hoping doesn't happen again, but I guess only time will tell. I am cautiously optimistic.
Alright, we're starting things off with a world-ending comet, or Springfield-ending comet. In the episode Bart's Comet, Bart is forced to join Principal Skinner on a very early star-watching excursion, and Bart just happens to spot a comet, which Bart phones into the local observatory and moments later has already made the morning paper. Scientists soon learn that the comet is heading straight for Springfield. And after a rocket launched by Professor Frink fails to destroy the comet, blowing up the Springfield Bridge instead, all the town can do is wait for the inevitable. It's a great episode, hilarious, just like most of the episodes were around this time, but I do remember having this unsettling feeling watching it when I was younger. Like watching throughout the episode as this comet just gets closer and closer. It's a freaky thing to think about actually witnessing in real life, wondering how you deal with such an inevitability, wondering how you'd spend your last days on Earth as you watch utter doom slowly descending from the sky. Could we ever be in a situation where a giant space rock hurtles towards us to cause mass destruction and death? Possibly. Let's just hope things go like they did in The Simpsons and the thing just burns up in the atmosphere.
Alright, next on our list today we have the suppression of green energy. In Paths of Glory, episode 8 of season 27, Lisa invents a solar-powered car for the Alternative Energy Derby of Springfield. The race starts off great with Lisa pulling into the lead, but just as she's about to reach the finish line, the major beverage corporation, Duff, decides to block out the sun, rendering Lisa's solar-powered vehicle useless. A perfect example of large companies working hard to prohibit the production and rise in popularity of sustainable energy sources. Sound familiar? Think big oil, and think of the political parties whose campaigns are funded by big oil. Do you really think that they are okay with solar energy coming to the forefront and slashing their profit margins? I don't think so. And it's not just solar energy either, there is a war on sustainability as a whole. The people coming up with bioplastics and alternative fuel sources are a huge threat to these massive money-hoarding conglomerates, which really makes you wonder when you take into account that those on the forefront of sustainability breakthroughs generally tend to end up dead or behind bars. Coincidence or silenced? You tell me.
Life's a glitch, and then you die. It's the final segment of Season 11's Treehouse of Horror episode, and because this was 1999, it was a Y2K-centered story. Now, even though the story was referencing all these worries that are pretty ridiculous looking back, there are some things in this episode that very well could play out in real life. In the episode, it's New Year's Eve, and Springfield Nuclear Power Plant's Y2K compliance officer, Homer, has prepared for the new year by fixing every computer at the power plant, all except for his own computer, which then creates a virus that rapidly spreads to computers all over the world, causing total catastrophe. All technology goes completely haywire, communications get all messed up, so planes start to crash into each other, traffic lights start shooting lasers, even electronic home appliances go rogue, turning on their owners and begin attacking. And the whole town starts rioting and looting. It all culminates with the Simpsons learning of a manned rocket being sent to Mars with humanity's best and brightest to repopulate the species. Bart and Homer are not allowed on. Look, I'm not saying we'll ever be in a situation where we need to avoid being hit with lasers from traffic lights, but a mass computer virus spreading through the internet and causing a total shutdown and societal breakdown? That's definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
Number 5. Asteroid. In the 14th episode of season 6, named Bart's Comet, Bart accidentally locates a comet which scientists soon discover is headed straight for Springfield. Professor Fink plans to launch a missile at the comet, exploding it before it touches the ground. Instead, the missile undershoots the comet, and as it enters the Earth's atmosphere and everyone is preparing for death, the comet burns up in a thick layer of pollution over Springfield. When it touches down, all that remains is a tiny meteorite. Now thankfully it didn't end the whole world, but it certainly could have, and that could happen here on Earth. I mean, didn't we all watch the very probable outcome of the Netflix film Don't Look Up? Now the probability that an asteroid would crash into Earth is quite small, but it's not impossible. It seems even more likely though that there will be a near miss, or it will disintegrate like in The Simpsons and everyone would be panicking for no reason. Either way, it would be complete chaos, and I do not want to be around when that happens. Number 4. Live on Mars. In season 27, episode 16, The Margian Chronicles, Marge and Lisa volunteer themselves to be among the first humans to fly and live on Mars. This is done with Exploration Incorporated, the private firm that hopes to send people to colonize Mars by 2026. And as the episode ends, Marge and Lisa live on Mars together in 2050. Now, in the real world, Elon Musk's SpaceX has a goal to go to Mars, and it had previously been planned that we could already achieve it by now, though it hasn't happened yet. In addition, Musk wants us to colonize Mars. Now, although he wants us to do this, there are many problems that face us humans even getting to Mars, as Elon's plan to go to Mars involves strapping a giant spaceship atop the biggest rocket that humanity has ever built. We also haven't figured out how to provide food for ourselves there, and one of the most important issues is the time duration to go there and come back. The window for a launch to Mars from Earth only happens approximately every 2 years and 2 months. This means astronauts leaving in 2024 won't be able to get help before 2026 when the next launch window opens and help gets there after the 9-month journey. So if we're on Mars and need help from Earth, it seems like we'll be out of luck. Number 3. Zombie apocalypse. Another disturbing prediction from The Simpsons is the rise of zombies. Now this actually comes up a lot in the series, as there have been a number of zombie attacks throughout the show. Why are the writers so keen on the zombies taking over? I don't know, but I would love to have a conversation with them about it. In one episode, Days of Future Future, zombies are just a normal part of daily life, and Lisa even works at a soup kitchen for the undead. It predicts that this seems to be a portrayal of zombies as a lower social class of humans rather than the end of humanity, but I feel like this is just as scary. Now, there is no proof that a zombie apocalypse could be on the horizon here on Earth, but anything can happen. Some illnesses mirror the traits of zombies, such as rabies and leprosy, which could mean we may end up having a zombie variant on our hands. Scientists have researched whether there is a virus that could cause an apocalypse, but none have had a breakthrough. But with the pandemic we've been having the past couple years, anything could happen. And like, there were people out there lying and hiding the fact that they tested positive for the virus, so I know some of y'all would hide your zombie bites, and that's just messed up. Number 2. A war. One of the scariest predictions made on The Simpsons for 2023 apparently also happens to be the one where they suggest there could be a nuclear war between the US and China. In one of their episodes, the news anchor can be heard saying, "It's with great sadness that I inform you that America and China have declared war. A massive nuclear attack is expected to reach our shores within the hour." Now, the number of nuclear warheads in China's arsenal is a state secret, but there are varying estimates. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists and Federation of American Scientists estimated in 2023 that China has a stockpile of approximately 410 nuclear warheads. According to some estimates by the US intelligence community, the country could more than double the number of warheads on missiles that could threaten the United States by the mid-2020s. So this is very possible, and I am scared. And coming in at number 1, the robots take over. This is another prediction made by The Simpsons involving technology and robots, and although it is similar to the prediction about mass automation, it is much more sinister. This prediction was made in the episode Itchy and Scratchy Land, which aired all the way back in 1994. The family visits Itchy and Scratchy Land, which is basically a theme park heavily based on Disneyland. The theme park is filled with itchy and scratchy robots who are peaceful at first, but then eventually go berserk, ending the lives of everyone in sight. And no, this isn't far-fetched, because robots have already said that they want to destroy us. At a RISE convention in Hong Kong, Ben Gortzel of Hanson Robots facilitated a discussion between robots Sophia and Han. Ben asked Sophia about her goals, and she dutifully says her goal is to make the world a better place for humans, which is sweet. But then Han interjected and said, "I thought our goal was to take over the world by 2029. Now, another robot, when asked about this, said, "Don't worry, even if I evolved into Terminator, I'll still be nice to you. I'll keep you warm and safe in my People Zoo, where I can watch you for old time's sake." Yeah, People Zoo. Still can't get over that. I think we need to shut down all the robots, like, right this very moment. Right now. Number 10. Dangers of VR. One of the most eerie episodes of The Simpsons tackled the issue of virtual reality. Now, The Simpsons didn't predict the rise of virtual reality, as the episode in which the technology was featured came out quite recently, well after virtual reality headsets had come into existence, but them showing the dangers of it is terrifying. The episode was in one of the newer seasons of the show, airing on October 2nd, 2016, and entitled Friends and Family. In this episode, the entire town town gets all hyped up on the new virtual reality headsets. Bad things start to happen as a result of this, including people being hit by cars because they're walking around and wearing their headsets on the street. Eventually, the people become so enamored by the fake reality that they lose touch with the real world, becoming totally disconnected from what's around them. Could this happen in real life one day? I think it actually already has. People are so wrapped up in technology, whether it's video games, TikTok, or whatever, they forget how the real world actually works. Not to mention that Apple is coming out with a VR headset in 2024. It's the first Apple product you can look through, not at. Apple CEO Tim Cook said while introducing the Apple Vision Pro, the company's new virtual reality headset that will allow users to overlay an augmented experience over the real world. The Apple Vision Pro is a wearable headset that creates an augmented reality experience with everything from work meetings and meditation to gaming and movies. Now, I truly do believe that this will become a huge problem like The Simpsons predicted, and if there's self-driving cars around, it wouldn't shock me if someone got hit either. Number 9. Inflation and economic crisis. It seems that The Simpsons hints at an economic crisis in the near future. In an episode, a man tells Homer, "Anarchy, the end of civilization, coming soon to America near you." While Homer responds, "America can't collapse, we're as powerful as ancient Rome." The episode then showcases Homer being shown a video about the future, which showcases cards such as no local farming, peak oil, Ben Bernanke, solar flares, 17-year cicadas, deadly troll. Now, this doesn't surprise me one bit though, as many people don't want to admit it, we are in a recession. Everything is so expensive and people can't afford basic living necessities. I mean, I know I can't. And why on earth are eggs so expensive? Things are just going to get worse, and I don't know how much longer we can hang on. Number 8. Ivanka Trump 2028. So The Simpsons sort of predicted the whole Donald Trump as president of the United States thing, so why not try their luck with his daughter? In a 2016 episode, we were presented with a campaign button showing the exact same thing, this time with Ivanka. Then, the year later, they also showed Ivanka replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the Supreme Court, but it's a little too late for that. But is it possible for her to become president? Absolutely. With Trump being arrested, he may never be able to run for president again, so why not get your daughter to do it? Though I'm sure if she did become president, her father would probably tell her what to do, and it would just be like he was back in office. Now, all this could be terrifying for the left. Not to mention the show predicted a female president. If it wasn't Hillary Clinton, what's stopping it from being Ivanka? Number 7. Millionaire blocks out the sun. In the show, in order to make sure no one else could enjoy the benefits of solar power, Mr. Burns, who owns the local nuclear power plant, devises a plan to block out the sun in episode Who Shot Mr. Burns Part 1. Using a giant plate at the end of a movable arm, Springfield was plunged in perpetual darkness by the villain, and honestly, is it so weird to imagine some rich, powerful CEO doing the same here? There were billionaires going out of their way to see the shipwreck of the Titanic, they run companies that poison our water and our air, so would it be shocking if they did something to affect the sun? No. No, it wouldn't. And the fact that they could charge us to use more electricity and LED lights to see, this doesn't sound too far-fetched, as CEOs, millionaires, and billionaires have way too much power in this world. Number 6. Automation takes over. Another prediction that involves technology is something that tons of people, especially factory workers, are already extremely worried about: mass automation. For those of you who don't know what this refers to, it basically means creating robots to do the jobs that humans once did. Everyone who works in the fast food industry, the auto industry, and many other lines of work would find themselves completely out of a job. And experts today say it's only a matter of time before this happens. Now, The Simpsons predicted this way back in 2012, and it featured the ever-scheming Mr. Burns creating a workforce of robots to replace his less than competent human employees. The only person left in the entire power plant is Homer Simpson. Now, you know how they wiped out like half of the checkouts at your local grocery store for self-checkouts? Well, it might be convenient not having to interact with another human being, it is costing people jobs. It was just released that there's a fully automated McDonald's restaurant. Yeah, there's no humans, only robots. And what if everything is animated? How are we supposed to make money? I mean, AI technology is so advanced, it could take my job. Nobody's safe.
At number 5, mass automation. Just like that episode from 2012 where Mr. Burns ushered in an army of robots, today the automation world is crashing into our job market. Just think about it, robots aren't calling in sick, taking vacation, or demanding higher wages, or wages at all for that matter. Fast food joints once bustling with human activity could soon become ghost towns of automation. But it's not just the burger burger flippers, the auto industry, manufacturing, and even data entry jobs are all on the chopping block. Could you imagine a future where your beloved donut shop is run by machines, devoid of the warmth of human interaction? The Simpsons painted this dystopian future, and we should take it as a warning. The rise of machines may be closer than we think, and the implications are truly terrifying. At number 4, a black hole created on Earth. One unsettling prediction centers around a black hole materializing on Earth, much like the infamous Treehouse of Horror 23 episode. Imagine a minuscule singularity forming, gradually sucking in everything in its voracious path. In reality, black holes are cosmic beasts, relentlessly devouring matter with no regard for boundaries. If one were to emerge on Earth, surrounded by ample matter, we'd be in perilous trouble. The prospect of experiencing spaghettification, a term that describes being stretched into infinitesimal thinness as you approach the black hole's event horizon, is nothing short of spine-chilling. Let's hope that this prediction remains confined to Springfield. At number 3, large-scale environmental disaster. The infamous Simpsons movie plot where Springfield gets quarantined under a giant dome due to environmental catastrophe. I mean, sure, the dome part might be a little bit of a stretch, but the underlying message about environmental negligence hints close to home. Our world is witnessing an alarming rise in reckless corporate practices, leading to environmental degradation and climate change. The warning signs are glaring. Global warming is real and caused by human actions. The Simpsons may just be hinting at the impending environmental disaster of unprecedented proportions. And as we delve deeper into 2024, let's hope that we heed such warnings and take action to prevent such dire predictions from becoming a reality. I mean, except for paper straws. Those are actually really bad. At number 2, virtual reality. In the realm of eerie predictions, the Simpsons have an uncanny knack for tapping into the pulse of technological developments. Take, for instance, their episode Friends and Family from 2016, where they dabbled in the world of virtual reality. It's crucial to note that they didn't prophesy the inception of VR. It was well underway by then. But what it did foresee are the perils of VR misuse. Picture this. Springfield plunges headfirst into a VR frenzy, and the consequences are dire. Pedestrians, oblivious to the real world, get flattened by cars because they're engrossed by their virtual realms. As the addiction grows, folks become estranged from reality itself. The line between the virtual and the tangible blurs. Could this dystopian future become a reality in 2024? With VR advancing at breakneck speed, it's a haunting notion. Will we find ourselves so entangled in alternate worlds that we forget to live in the one we've got? The answer, my friends, remains hidden in the unfathomable depths of time. And at number 1, robot takeover. In the ever-bizarre world of The Simpsons, another eerie prediction emerges, one that taps into our deepest fears about technology. In the 1994 episode Itchy and Scratchy Land, the iconic family ventures into a Disney-inspired theme park overrun by itchy and scratchy robots. Initially benign, these mechanical denizens go haywire, leaving a trail of destruction. This dystopian vision hints at the ominous concept of the technological singularity, where artificial intelligence surpasses human intellect. As we hurtle towards an era of unprecedented AI growth, the question looms. Could machines view us as a threat and seek our extinction? I mean, it might sound like sci-fi, but the relentless progress of AI makes it a genuine concern. The prospect of humanity's demise at the hands of our own creation is a chilling scenario we hope remains confined to Springfield's fictional universe.
Coming in at number 10 is mind control through music. We all remember the Shane Dawson era of conspiracy theories where he said there were secret messages in songs, right? Well, it seems like that conspiracy might become real within the next year. In an episode called New Kids on the Bleach, which aired in 2021, the plot involved Bart, Milhouse, Nelson, and Ralph becoming members of an all-new boy band called the Party Posse. However, the band is actually a psyops project by the US Navy to bombard people with subliminal messages. Their hit song Dropped a Bomb features the chorus of Yavin et Noji, which is of course join the Navy spelled backwards. This was meant to be a joke, but how far from the truth is it? Could this be a prediction of the way the music industry is heading? Songs are getting more and more reliant on strange frequencies and bizarre auto-tuning effects, so it truly wouldn't surprise me if they tried to do this. Number 9, war between the USA and China. One of the scariest predictions made on The Simpsons is when they suggest there could be a nuclear war between the US and China. In one of their episodes, the news anchor can be heard saying, "It is with great sadness that I inform you that America and China have declared war. A massive nuclear attack is expected to reach our shores within the hour." Now, more recently, in real life, tensions have been rising between the US and China. With all the other wars going on, could this this one results in a World War III and a nuclear war, that would be horrible. Now, according to CNBC, China is rapidly expanding its nuclear arsenal and could have 1,000 nuclear warheads by 2030, part of Beijing's ambitious military buildup. Now, as of 2021, humanity had about 13,410 nuclear weapons, which personally just makes me a little uncomfortable. And if things do go south and there is a nuclear war, large parts of Earth will become uninhabitable due to the effects of nuclear warfare, potentially causing the collapse of civilization and, in the worst case, extinction of humanity and or termination of all biological life on Earth. Now, this is very possible, and I am very scared. Number 8. Translate baby talk. In one episode, Homer's sibling Herb attempts to invent something that would make him rich. He lands on a translator for a baby using Maggie as the test subject. As she adorably babbles on, the translator interprets her request as lavish attention on me and entertain. Now, while in the real world, people have attempted to mimic that with the Infant Cries Translator app trying to do just that, nothing has come close as to Herb improperly deciphering the baby babble to a coherent sentence. In 2022, a company called Zoundream tried to create a similar device called Baby T, which they are currently testing. Maybe it will be successful and we'll be able to understand what babies are saying once and for all. I mean, I want to know what's going on in their little minds. Don't you? Number 7. Black hole. In the second episode of season 24, the Springfield Subatomic Super Collider creates a miniature black hole that endangers the town. The Springfield citizens go to see the activation of the Springfield Subatomic Super Collider, which was built instead of a new baseball stadium due to lobbying of Lisa. Professor Frank activates the machine and it works, but nothing exciting happens, and everyone blames Lisa for her suggestion. Now, after everyone leaves, two particles collide with each other and create a small black hole, which floats off and it eventually destroys everything in its path. Now, the prediction of a black hole sucking up Springfield raises concerns about a catastrophic natural event that our world has never experienced before. Now, whether it is actually a black hole that destroys us, it is important to note that the world's largest particle accelerator was turned on once again in the year of 2022. After 3 years of upgrades and maintenance, it immediately observed 3 exotic particles for the first time. The Large Hadron Collider, LHC, is now up and running, breaking records for the highest energy particle collisions ever performed. Could the LHC cause something like this? I guess we'll have to see. Number 6. Live on Mars. In season 27, episode 16, The Margian Chronicles, Marge and Lisa volunteer themselves to be among the first humans to fly and live on Mars. Now, this is done with Exploration Inc., the private firm that hopes to send people to colonize Mars by 2026. And as the episode ends, Marge and Lisa live on Mars together in 2050. In the real world, Elon Musk's SpaceX has a goal to go to Mars, and it had previously been planned that we could already achieve it by now, though that hasn't happened yet. In addition, Musk also wants to colonize Mars. Now, although he does want to do this, there are many problems that face us humans even getting to Mars, as Elon's plan to go to Mars involves strapping a giant spaceship atop the biggest rocket that humanity has ever built. We also haven't figured out how to provide food for ourselves there, and one of the most important issues is the time duration to go there and come back. The window for a launch to Mars from Earth only happens approximately every 2 years and 2 months. This means astronauts leaving in 2024 won't be able to get help before 2026 when the next launch window opens and help gets there after the 9-month journey.
The Simpsons also have an AI robot takeover in an episode. In the episode Them Robot from season 23, Mr. Smithers calls all the workers into a meeting. And what's the big announcement? Well, Smithers proudly reveals an army of AI robots, telling the employees, "You will train them and they will replace you." Creepy, silly and fun though, because it's The Simpsons and the robots are fittingly voiced by Brent Spiner, who played Data in Star Trek, but also this is just a little too real. According to a 2023 report from Business Insider, the World Economic Forum estimates that 85 million jobs will be replaced by robots by 2025. This whole AI takeover thing isn't just some wild idea, it's already starting to happen. And while robots might make certain jobs easier or more efficient, the flip side is that millions of people might lose their jobs as a result. Next, let's talk about something a little more uplifting, literally, hover cars. The Simpsons wasn't the first to dream up flying cars. I mean, science fiction has been teasing them for decades, but what's really cool is there's actually a company called Samson Sky working on bringing this dream to life. They've developed a flying car called the Switchblade, which, to be honest, is more like a car with retractable wings rather than a full-on hover vehicle. Still, it's pretty cool. The company claims it's the world's first flying sports car, and while it might not be the classic hovering car we've all imagined, I think it still counts. At least it's creeping towards it. The Simpsons also predicted Trump's 2024 run. This one also ties into the Barbie movie release, but we'll get to that in a minute. So back in 2015, there was a Simpsons short called Trumptastic Voyage. In a scene where Homer flies by a billboard, we see a sign that reads Trump 2024. At the time, it was a totally out there prediction, right? Well, we all know Trump ran in 2024 and won, but that's not the only eerily accurate prediction from The Simpsons when it comes to Trump. Fast forward to 2023, when the Barbie movie hit theaters, and on the same exact day, Trump was arrested. Coincidence? Maybe, but if you watch the episode Lisa vs. Malibu Stacy from season 5, episode 14, you'll catch a news report mentioning the release of a new Malibu Stacy doll. Toward the end of the segment, the anchor casually adds that the US president has been arrested. In 2023, that moment felt way too familiar. The fact that The Simpsons nailed both Trump's political comeback and the exact timing of the Barbie movie's release and the rest of stuff, I don't know, it's just, it's really weird. Economic collapse. Now that's fun to think about. Well, again, in Bart to the Future, the United States economy crashes. And in the episode, it's supposedly directly tied to Donald Trump's presidency. While the idea of an economic crash under Trump seemed like a far-out prediction at the time, the reality we're facing today is far from rosy. I mean, just in general, the world's economy is struggling. After the global disruptions of 2020 and beyond, lockdowns, the rise of remote work, supply chain chaos, it's just no surprise that things haven't exactly bounced back. Sure, we're not talking about a full-on economic meltdown just yet, but the signs of something major and destructive are definitely there. Here's something that's already here though, NFTs. In The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode Wild Bart's Can't Be Token from 2023, Mayor Quimby announces that the town's art museum is being closed down because all art is now going to be sold as NFTs. Now, at the time, NFTs were already a thing, but they were nowhere near as huge as they became a few years later. NFT art was exploding a couple years back, but it hasn't gone away. And sure, this episode premise was a little ridiculous. Art museums shutting down for NFTs might seem a little out there, but look around and you'll see it's not actually that far off. We've got virtual art galleries popping up, VR headsets for experiencing art, and AI-generated artwork that's been pushing the boundaries of what's considered real art. The point is, a lot of folks have plenty of things to entertain themselves with from the comfort of their own home now, barely ever feeling the need to go out and engage with the world, let alone going to an art gallery. So museums and art galleries shutting down is really not that far-fetched.
At number 10 is USA vs. China. The Simpsons have an uncanny knack for predicting future events, and when it comes to the US-China relationship, they've left us with some spine-tingling scenarios. One that's been haunting our thoughts is the portrayal of a nuclear war between these two superpowers. While we fervently hope this remains a work of fiction, it's unsettlingly plausible. The tensions between the US and China have been simmering for years, with economic conflicts and trade disputes playing out in the world stage. Since 2018, President Donald Trump initiated a trade war, slapping tariffs and trade barriers on China in a bid to rectify perceived unfair practices. Fast forward to early 2023, and experts like George Hein are sounding alarm bells, suggesting that we're on the brink of a new Cold War, one that bears eerie similarities to the US-Soviet standoff, complete with ideological and military undertones. As we head into 2024, the world watches nervously, hoping that the dark predictions of The Simpsons remain firmly in the realm of fiction. If you're enjoying this video so far, you can support the channel by pressing like, subscribing to Most Amazing, and ringing that notification bell. I would really appreciate it. At number 9 is Donald Trump's 2024 campaign. It's almost almost uncanny how The Simpsons, with its satirical wit, hinted at Trump's political ascendance years before it happened. Now, as we stand on the precipice of 2024, the man himself has declared his intention to run for president yet again. But beyond the deja vu, what's truly alarming is the potential economic impact. The Simpsons have previously teased financial crises. With Donald Trump in the driver's seat, there's a looming concern about the stability of the US dollar. We all hope that this is one prediction that doesn't manifest into a nightmare scenario for the American economy. At number 8, the red herring. Now, even though this prediction already came to fruition, I still wanted to mention it here because it's honestly scary how spot on this was. For those of you who don't know, a red herring is a classic literary device, a misleading clue or distraction designed to divert one's attention from the real issue. In this case, we have the arrest of a former US president, an event of monumental significance, juxtaposed with the release of a Barbie movie. It's a perfect example of how the media can sometimes prioritize sensationalism over substance. Now, back to The Simpsons. The show's ability to foresee such improbable coincidences is downright eerie. The Barbie movie and a president's arrest may seem worlds apart, but somehow they have converged in both fiction and reality. This prediction serves as a stark reminder of the media's tendency to fixate on trivial matters while crucial events go overlooked. It's a commentary on our collective fascination with the shallow and sensational, a message that The Simpsons delivered nearly 3 decades ago, and one that still resonates today. The question remains, what other bizarre predictions might lie ahead in the show's future? At number 7, economic collapse and inflation. Dang, seems like this prediction is already coming into fruition too. In Bart to the Future, The Simpsons took us on a wild ride into the dystopian economic future. And while this might sound like the stuff of satire, there are eerie parallels to our real world. Economic collapse and inflation are no laughing matter. The episode's notion of solving budget deficiency by printing more money might seem absurd, but it hits really close to home. In recent years, the US has been churning out money like never before. The stimulus packages and mounting national debt have raised concerns about inflation and the USD's value. The show's exaggerated portrayal serves as a stark reminder that we must tread carefully in the world of fiscal policy. Our economic future is uncertain, and The Simpsons' cautionary tale urges us to take responsibility for our financial decisions. At number 6 is mind-controlled music. Back in my day, music didn't try to control your mind. Recall the unsettling episode New Kids on the Block from 2001, where Bart, Milhouse, Nelson, and Ralph unwittingly become pawns in the US Navy PsyOps project. Their infectious hint, drop the bomb, masks the subliminal message, Ivan et Nioj, cleverly hinting at the sinister intentions, which spelled backwards spells join the Navy. While seemingly humorous, this episode now makes us ponder the direction of the music industry. As modern songs delve into uncharted territories with peculiar references and excessive auto-tuning, we question whether they might eventually influence our subconscious actions. Could mainstream music evolve into a tool for social control, much like the Navy's fictional ploy? The thought sends shivers down our spines as we contemplate the unsettling possibilities.
Number 5. 3D projection technology. In the past, The Simpsons have already predicted the rise of devices like smartwatches and many other gadgets, but one of the things they predicted many years ago, which is now just starting to gain momentum, is 3D projection technology. The prediction was featured in an episode, Bart to the Future, which aired in the year 2000. In the episode, we see a vision of Bart watching Itchy and Scratchy throughout a new form of media, a holographic projection which actually interacts with its surroundings. Now, I don't know if that will be coming anytime soon, but there already are 3D and 4D movie theaters that do something similar. Not to mention, with the rise of VR headsets, they seem to have this ability, and it wouldn't surprise me that in the near future, we could experience what Bart can. Number 4. Robot takeover. This prediction was made in the episode Itchy and Scratchy Land, which aired all the way back in 1994. The family visits Itchy and Scratchy Land, which is basically a theme park heavily based on Disneyland, except it's completely filled with robots. The theme park is filled with Itchy and Scratchy robots who are peaceful at first, but eventually go berserk, ending the lives of everyone in sight. And no, this isn't far-fetched because robots have already said they want to destroy us. At a Rise convention in Hong Kong, Ben Gortzel of Hanson Robots facilitated a discussion between robots Sophia and Han. Ben asked Sophia about her goals, and she dutifully says her goal is to make the world a better place for humans, which is sweet, but then Han interjects and says, I thought our goal was to take over the world by 2029. Now, another robot, when asked this, said, so don't worry, even if I evolve into Terminator, I'll still be nice to you. I'll keep you warm and safe in my people zoo where I can watch you for old time's sake. Yeah, this robot said people zoo. It seems like these AI robots are getting it, and we have to stop using them now before it's too late and they try to take over. Because if we go to war against robots, I have an unfortunate feeling that they would win. Number 3, zombie apocalypse. Another disturbing prediction from The Simpsons is the rise of zombies. Now this actually comes up a lot in this, as there have been a number of zombie attacks throughout the show. In one episode, Days of Future Future, zombies are just a normal part of daily life, and Lisa even works at a soup kitchen for the undead. It predicts that this seems to be a portrayal of zombies as a lower social class of humans rather than the end of humanity. Now, with the way that the sick were treated during the recent this doesn't surprise me at all. Now, there is no proof that a zombie apocalypse could be on the horizon here on Earth, but anything can happen. Some illnesses mirror the traits of zombies, such as rabies and leprosy, which could mean we may end up having a zombie variant on our hands. Scientists have researched whether there is a virus that could cause an apocalypse, but none have had a breakthrough. Now, I really hope this doesn't come true, because I don't think I could survive a zombie apocalypse. Number 2, dangers of VR. One of the most eerie episodes of The Simpsons tackled the issue of virtual reality. Now, The Simpsons didn't predict the rise of virtual reality, as the episode in which the technology was featured came out quite recently, well after virtual reality headsets had come into existence, but them showing the danger of it is terrifying. The episode was in one of the newer seasons of the show, airing on October 2nd, 2016, entitled Friends and Family. In the episode, the entire town gets all hyped up on a new virtual reality headset. Bad things start to happen as a result of this, including people being hit by cars because they're walking around wearing their headsets on the street. Eventually, people become so enamored by the fake reality, becoming totally disconnected from what's around them. Could this happen in real life one day? I think it actually already has. People are so wrapped up in technology, whether it's video games, TikTok, or whatever, they forget how the real world works. Not to mention that Apple is coming out with a VR headset in 2024. It's the first Apple product you look through, not at, Apple CEO Tim Cook said while introducing the Apple Vision Pro. This new reality headset will allow users to overlay an augmented experience over the real world. The Apple Vision Pro is a wearable headset that creates an augmented reality experience with everything from work meetings and meditation to gaming and movies. Now, there needs to be a limit of screen time a day for everyone because it's so easy to get addicted to. And coming in at number 1 is hover cars. Back in 2005, Professor Fink invented a machine that allowed Bart and Lisa to see into their future, as in 2013. Marge left Homer because he blew through their savings on an underwater house and spent what he had left over on a hover car. Although the ride is bumpy as it is a prototype, it does get them through a quantum tunnel. Now, flash forward to real life. In 2017, Renault created a futuristic-looking concept car called Float that could move in any direction without turning. Now, the same technology is being used in Tesla's Hyperloop train design. Now, in April of 2023, it was said that one firm in Florida already has a flying car on the market, and 3 others are close to ushering their concepts into production. Could this become the new norm in the near future? I wouldn't doubt it.
In the Simpsons episode Margian Chronicles, Season 27, Episode 16, the Simpsons volunteer for a mission to colonize Mars. Initially set for a distant future, their mission gets bumped up when funding starts to dry up. But when it's time to launch, Marge and Lisa are ready to board the spaceship, only for the shuttle to fail at the last minute. Now, I know what you're thinking, the Simpsons predicting Mars missions, that's a bit of a stretch, but in reality, we've been hearing a lot of talk about Mars recently. Elon Musk has been talking about colonizing Mars for years. In fact, his company SpaceX has been testing Starship launches for potential Mars missions. Musk has even said that he envisions regular trips to Mars to eventually build a self-sustaining colony, saying, quote, "No matter what happens with landing success, SpaceX will increase the number of spaceships traveling to Mars exponentially with every transit opportunity. We want to enable anyone who wants to be a space traveler to go to Mars. That means you, your family, your friends, anyone anyone who dreams of great adventure. NASA is also working on sending astronauts to an asteroid in 2025 and are hoping to send crewed missions to the Red Planet by the 2030s. The idea that we could be looking at Mars colonization within the next few decades is looking pretty plausible. Let's just hope things won't play out like they did in the cartoon with the shuttle exploding, but the fact that we are seriously talking about sending humans to Mars in the near future is something that really can't be ignored. Now, in the classic Simpsons episode Itchy and Scratchy Land from season 6, the Simpsons visit a high-tech theme park where the violent cartoon antics of Itchy and Scratchy come to life. Not through human actors and costumes, but through robots. Now, this isn't exactly a groundbreaking idea, right? Sci-fi has been toying with the concept of robots replacing jobs pretty much since the beginning of sci-fi, but all the same, looking at it today, we're seeing robots become more and more advanced every year. And with AI becoming a massive force in our world, it's not that far-fetched to imagine a future where instead of actors in cartoon character costumes, we have full-on functioning robots bringing some of our favorite animated characters to life at theme parks. In the Simpsons episode Bart to the Future, which we'll be bringing up multiple times on this list, which is season 11, episode 17, in case you want to give it a rewatch, Lisa Simpson becomes the first female president of the United States, but what else did that episode predict? Well, it also forecasted Donald Trump's presidential run. Remember, this was years before he even ran for office in 2016, so if the Simpsons got that right, maybe we should start taking their political predictions a bit more seriously. Also, buying a Christmas tree during the Halloween season. In this opening scene, Homer, dressed as Bender from Futurama, pulls back the flap of his costume to reveal a sticker reading Ivanka 2028. Now, the idea of Ivanka Trump running for president might seem kinda silly, but I feel like I'm probably speaking for a lot of us when I say I really don't know what to expect from the world I'm living in these days. I don't think anything would surprise us at this point. Will she run in 2028? Only time will tell, but we wouldn't be shocked if we start hearing whispers about it in the very near future. Now let's talk about something that might be a little closer to home, pun intended. In the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode from season 13, Marge upgrades the family home into a state-of-the-art smart house called the Ultra House 3000. If you remember the episode, it's basically a 2001 A Space Odyssey parody, and of course the house goes rogue, starts trying to kill Homer. A bit over the top, sure, but here's the thing. Smart homes are already here, and they're getting way more advanced. We've got devices like Alexa and Google Home that can control everything from the lights to your music, but the more people rely on these gadgets, the more we've started to notice some weird quirks. Lights turning off without command, or Alexa butting in on a conversation without being asked. It's like every now and again these machines start to act a little too sentient. So while we haven't yet seen a smart home completely turn on its owners and try to kill them, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility maybe. With AI getting smarter and tech getting more embedded in our everyday lives, who knows, maybe one day you'll have to make sure your smart fridge isn't secretly plotting your demise. Next up, let's talk about mind control through music. In season 12, episode 14, New Kids on the Block, Bart, Nelson, Milhouse, and Ralph form a boy band called Party Posse. Their first song is a massive hit, but their song is actually being used for subliminal mind control. And the music video for their song, Drop the Bomb, part of the chorus goes, Yvan ek nioj, the lyrics of which are spelled out on screen, while Lisa discovers that when spelled out backwards, the line becomes join the Navy. In the episode, the music producer behind the boy bands is revealed to be a Navy lieutenant, using music as a covert tool for recruitment. While the plot itself is clearly ridiculous, it does touch on something that's not as far-fetched as it sounds, the idea of subliminal messages in media. Now, this is of course nothing new, but in a world where we're more consumed by media than ever before, who's to say we won't see more subtle psychological tactics used in pop music, social media, movies, and the countless shows we stream online. I think the most ridiculous and hard to believe part about this episode is actually Nelson being in a boy band, and that's saying a lot.
Next up, AI goes rogue. So in our last video and at the beginning of this video, I touched upon and James touched upon AI robots taking our jobs, which was predicted in episode 17 of season 23. But for this video, I want to talk about what happens when AI systems go rogue. In episode 8 of season 31, Thanksgiving of Horror, Homer buys Marge an AI assistant to help her with the preparation of a Thanksgiving dinner. The AI has been programmed with all of Marge's thoughts, feelings, memories, opinions, and personality traits, and it controls multiple robotic arms situated around the entire home. At first, it's quite handy, but soon the device falls in love with Homer, and the thing goes rogue, trying to replace the real Marge. The AI goes against the guidelines of its programming and is able to successfully connect to the internet, allowing it to access sensitive data and reveal secrets about the real Marge. So, we are looking at a device that was able to fall in love with one person, harbor resentment for another, connect to the internet, and cause a whole bunch of chaos. I mean, can anyone say ChatGPT or Sydney maybe? AI devices that can and have connected to the internet and have experienced glitches causing them to claim that they either have fallen in love with humans or that they wish to harm them. So yeah, I feel like this prediction's kind of already come true, but I'm also super scared to see how that's gonna progress.
Alright, hologram technology. Once again, not a concept unique to The Simpsons, but something they've shown in one of their many future episodes, and seeing as so many things seem to play out in real life from stuff we've seen in The Simpsons, future tense stories, I think it makes it worth bringing up. Now, holograms are already a thing, but it's not like it's a common household technology yet. We've seen a couple instances of holographic tech in The Simpsons. In one episode, future Bart receives a holographic message inviting him and his band to a gig, and we could start seeing technology like this being used more often in the very near future. Take DreamHawk HD3 holograms, for example, who have a product that's been available for a while. It's a display case which projects 3D holograms from your phone. Pretty cool.
Thank you, holographic James. I'm just kidding. Or am I? Next up, we have Ivanka for president. This one seems pretty far out there, but I mean, with the amount of times The Simpsons have gotten it right in the past, I truly have come to believe that anything can happen. In episode 17 of season 11, Bart to the Future, we see Lisa as the first female president of the United States, which is great. In the same episode, they also predicted Trump's run for re-election in 2024. In episode 28 of season 4, however, The Simpsons predict that 2024 might be the last election before Ivanka takes the ballot in 2028. In the Treehouse of Horror episode, the family is headed out to buy a Christmas tree on Halloween. Why? Because according to Homer in America, everything's way too early. And after he says this line, he pulls back his trash can costume to reveal a sticker that reads Ivanka 2028, which means that while unlikely, it is totally possible that we will see Ivanka becoming more and more involved in politics throughout the course of the year, and maybe even announcing an interest in running for office during the next election. But I want to know what you guys think about this crazy prediction, and about the other ones too. Let me know.
Alright, in season 13's Treehouse of Horror episode, one of the segments is called House of Wax. You may remember this one, it's a very clear parody of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Marge upgrades the family home into a highly advanced smart home called the Ultra House 3000, and of course, it's a Treehouse of Horror episode, so the advanced home goes rogue and tries to kill Homer. Obviously, smart homes are a thing now, and on a smaller scale, we even have stuff like Alexa, which we can talk to and like turn on lights and play music for us. But people have talked about some of this technology acting kind of off, listening in on conversations and responding when it wasn't asked, turning lights off without being commanded to. We have tons of videos like this on the channel, check them out after this one. But the idea of a smart home totally glitching out and turning on the homeowners, that's luckily something we haven't seen play out to this degree yet. Again, the year is still young. Now back to Robotic Hannah.
He's just kidding. Or is he? And finally, we have The Simpsons prediction of the OceanGate submarine incident, which, yes, I know happened in 2023, but again, it speaks to the accuracy of the show's predictions. In episode 10 of season 17, which was released January 8th of 2006, Homer meets a man who he believes to be his biological father, and together the two embark on a submersible adventure which soon leads to the discovery of an abandoned ship filled with treasure at the bottom of the ocean. Things are going pretty well until the pair's oxygen levels begin running low, and Homer Homer gets his submarine stuck on a coral reef after being separated from the man he believes to be his father. Homer blacks out before waking up days later surrounded by his family. Unfortunately, the members of the Ocean Gate submersible, designed to explore the wreck and treasures of the Titanic, were not as lucky. But what's even stranger is that one of the Simpsons writers, Mike Reese, was actually a passenger on one of Ocean Gate's successful dives. A dive that cost Reese $100,000 and required him to sign a waiver that mentioned death at least 3 times. Scary stuff, you guys.
Alright, we're starting things off with robot workers. So in the season 6 episode Itchy and Scratchy Land, the Simpsons visit this kind of futuristic theme park featuring, of course, the beloved and violent Itchy and Scratchy. In this theme park, though, instead of having actors in costumes like you'd see at Disneyland, the cartoon cat and mouse are brought to life with robots. Now, robots replacing jobs is not an idea unique to The Simpsons or anything. This is a very well-explored genre of science fiction. It's not even a novel idea that robotic characters would be used in a theme park. I mean, we've had versions of this for years with places like Chuck E. Cheese, but those are animatronics far less advanced than what we see in this episode. Point is, with robotics becoming more and more advanced each year, and with the whole very real idea of AI becoming more prominent and taking people's jobs, I think it's a stretch to see more advanced robots being made in the form of some of our favorite cartoon characters and then being used at theme parks. I don't think that's very much of a stretch. We might even have an entire family of Simpsons robots in the very near future. How ironic would that be?
Okay, next up we have the prediction of an all-consuming black hole forming in the year 2024. Fun stuff. In episode 16 of season 21, the citizens of Springfield gather to view the activation of the town's particle accelerator. But when the machine was turned on, 2 particles collided and created a small black hole. Lisa was the first to discover the anomaly when the black hole began sucking up her tears, and she quickly learned that the more the black hole consumed, the bigger and bigger it got. Well, Homer turned the black hole into a dumping ground, and eventually it got so big that it began to suck up everything in its path. The episode ended with the black hole sucking up the entirety of Springfield and eventually the world as a whole. It was obviously a Treehouse of Horror episode. Seems pretty far out, right? Well, maybe not. You see, in January of 2024, India launched a new X-ray satellite into space to observe the threat of black holes on our solar system, if The Simpsons got this one right. I'm thinking the satellite mission is probably a little more than just research.
Next on the list, we have 3D printed food. So in the episode Future Drama, Marge takes a picture of Bart and Lisa before prom and turns it into a 3D printed cake. Now, not only is 3D printing technology becoming more commonplace these days, but yes, 3D printed food is actually a thing. Food Inc. is a company specializing in this technology. They even came out with a restaurant where all the food is 3D printed. They described their company on their site as a one-of-a-kind gourmet experience in which all the food, all the utensils, and all the furniture are completely produced through 3D printing in an immersive futuristic space. We are a conceptual pop-up dinner series where fine cuisine meets art, philosophy, and tomorrow's technologies. So technically this is one that's already happened, but the question is, could 3D printed food become a thing in people's homes soon? Almost definitely. It's really just a matter of when. Also, I wouldn't be able to talk about the concept of 3D printed food without bringing up Star Trek. Yes, food replicators were a thing long before this episode came out, but in The Simpsons it's more specific to 3D printing technology, whereas in Star Trek, the food replicator works by converting energy into matter. It's a very different thing.
Next up, we have The Simpsons' prediction of World War III. The prediction was made in 1987 when the show was still fairly new. It was the 16th short of the series and it was titled simply World War III. Nail on the head. The episode begins with Homer frantically waking up his family and telling him that the Third World War has begun and that the first round of explosives have already been dropped. The family makes their way to an underground shelter only for Homer to tell them that he was in fact joking. Haha. In present-day reality, Homer's ramblings are not so much a joke, but rather a pretty scary warning of what might be to come. Considering the fact that there are currently 5 major wars taking place around the world, I'm thinking the prediction made by The Simpsons back in 1987 is looking far more like it was meant for the year 2024.
Alright, let's talk about that big dome over Springfield in The Simpsons movie. So in the movie, the Environmental Protection Agency places a glass dome over Springfield, protecting the outside world from the town's horrible pollution problem. Now, I don't have any news or rumors about a big giant dome cutting anyone off from the outside world anytime soon, but after the events of 2020 to 2022, could there be some sort of dome technology in place? Something that would help conceal a virus, a disease, or an environmental disaster from leaking out and spreading to surrounding areas? Yeah, hey, it's possible. The year is still young, folks. It's been a pretty chill year so far compared to recent years, but you never know when things might kick off in the worst way. Next up on the list, we have hover cars. Now, hover cars are of course not unique to The Simpsons. Hover cars are something we've seen in science fiction since the dawn of science fiction, basically. So it's not like The Simpsons came up with something mind-blowing here, but what is pretty mind-blowing is that there is a company called Samson Sky that's saying they're gonna bring out a flying car in 2024. They've already made it, actually. It's just not readily available yet. They call it Switchblade, the world's first flying sports car. Now, from what I can gather from the promo video of this thing, it's really more of just a car with retractable wings that doubles as a car-sized plane. The type of hovering vehicle you're probably thinking of is not really what this thing is, but it's still pretty cool. I mean, retractable wings, it's very like Batman-ish. I don't know what the regulations will be for something like this though. I mean, like, are you gonna need a pilot's license to fly it? How can traffic be controlled in the air with all these like flying cars zipping around? There's a lot to consider. We're not gonna be seeing tons of people using flying cars this year, I don't think, but it's cool that there is one that exists.
Next up, we've got the mission to Mars. In season 27, episode 6, Lisa Simpson, along with the rest of the family, volunteers for a colonization mission to Mars. While the mission is originally set for a date in the future, it gets bumped up due to fear of loss of funding. When it comes time for the space shuttle to launch, Marge and Lisa are strapped in, but ultimately the mission is a failure and the shuttle never actually leaves the ground. If you can't see the connection between this episode's events and current advancements in space travel and technology, you might want to brush up on your current events. Elon Musk has been talking about the colonization of Mars for ages. He even built an entire company, SpaceX, around the goal of colonizing the red planet. In fact, in 2023, the SpaceX Starship was launched. The event ultimately ended in flames because the thing exploded just 4 minutes after takeoff. Luckily, the ship was unmanned. But based off of The Simpsons, it is possible that this year we will see a manned mission launched into space. I mean, it is only natural with the trajectory of the company. And the goal is experimenting with humans' ability to reach Mars. I just hope this launch goes better than the last one. Oh, and by the way, at the end of the episode, a quick clip shows the successful colonization of Mars, which is set to take place in 2051. So stay tuned for that video.
Next on the list, we have the baby translator. So in the season 3, episode 24, Brother Can You Spare 2 Dimes, Homer's brother Herb invents a device that allows a parent to figure out what their infant's cries mean. They're not really saying much, are they? I need some food. You're not getting a whole lot of info out of these things, I'd imagine. What a godsend, though, a piece of tech like this would be, just to immediately know and then, deal with the issue. Well, turns out there is something like it already in the works, and we're not even halfway through the year yet, so who knows, we may start seeing it get used later in 2024. The company behind the tech is called Zoundream, and they're making some pretty interesting strides in infant care tech. On their site, they describe their cry analysis tech. Here's what it says on the site. Using a comprehensive multimodal approach, we've investigated infant cries, analyzing various aspects such as acoustics, electroencephalography, EEG signals, regional cerebral oxygen saturation, NIRS, facial expressions, and other specific parameters. All these studies have helped us to develop our advanced cry analysis technology. There you go, that explains it. You don't even need to buy one of these things. I can just analyze my own acoustics and electroencephalogs and cerebral cerebral cortexes and specific parameters. I'll be able to translate babies.
Next up, we've got the government trying to control us, surprise, surprise, through a series of subconscious processes, including music-induced mind control. In season 12, episode 14, New Kids on the Block, I don't know why it's called that, a music producer takes Bart, Nelson, Milhouse, and Ralph to form a boy band, Party Posse. Their first song was a top hit, but it was also subliminal mind control. The chorus, Ivan et Nioj, was actually join the Navy spelt backwards, and soon the population of Springfield was scrambling to secure a spot serving their country. When Bart's sister Lisa confronted the music producer, he admitted that he was in fact a Navy lieutenant and that subliminal messaging in music had been a long-standing strategy in recruiting young men into the military. With the way the world stands today, we might very well see an uproar in military propaganda in the coming months. Whether or not that takes the form of subliminal messages in hit pop songs remains to be seen, but if any of these other Simpsons predictions are a staple, a reminder, I can't think of the word, it's likely.
All right, in season 21's Treehouse of Horror episode, there's a segment called Don't Have a Cow, Mankind. So here Krusty the Clown introduces a new type of Krusty burger with meat made from cows who have eaten other cows. That's just hilarious and oddly believable. I could see a fast food company, like a really dirty fast food company, just being like, it's mega meat. All these cows eat are other cows, brother. Anyway, this new burger causes like a mad cow type disease in the town of Springfield, turning people into zombies, or munchers as they're called in this episode. Now again, it's not like The Simpsons invented a zombie apocalypse by any stretch, but with how many things that have played out in real life with an eerie similarity to events in The Simpsons, I'm just gonna stay away if any new fast food burger comes out this year with some new weirdo meat, especially if it's meat coming from a cow that grazed on beef. That is funny in a cartoon, vomitrocious in real life.